Kia ora tātou, welcome back to the Wargaming Den. Something a wee bit different for you today. First game in a while, but today's game is actually a game of Battlegroup. Haven't been down south of Dunedin to play Richard in quite a while, probably 6 months or more. He's been busy with real life things, but finally getting back into gaming. So today I took a bit of a tiki tour down south, taking my Fallschrimjager with me for a game of Battlegroup. We just played the meeting engagement. I think it's attack, counter-attack, and we cut down the size of the forces to 450. We wanted more of an infantry heavy game, so we put a few restrictions on, limiting the number of armoured supports we could take, and also artillery as well. So let's take a look at the forces. First up, we have my Fallschrimjager. Pretty generic force, a platoon with 3 squads and 3 machine gun teams as the core. Took an additional squad, always find more infantry is good in Battlegroup, a medium machine gun, a mortar, Panzerschreck, and a Pak 40. One of the limits we put in place is you had to take at least 4 of the platoon support options, so I've got 5 there. Also took a 222 armoured car, a battery of Stug 3Gs, and also a couple of supply trucks for ammunition. So I think my points were about 441, 442, so just a wee bit shy. And Richard approximately had a motorised infantry platoon of 3 sections in half tracks. His platoon supports were the Vickers machine gun, 3-inch mortar, Piat, and 6-pounder. So we were very similar with our support choices. He took a Daimler Dingo armoured car and also a Stuart Jalopy, which is the Stuart 5 tank without the turret. So it has a 50 cal instead. A troop of 3 tanks, 2 Cromwells and a Firefly, pretty standard for the Battle of Normandy. A couple of supply trucks, and he took a sneaky little airstrike as well. Right, let's have a look at the first turn in deployment. So I had 1 reconnaissance unit, which is my armoured car, hidden there. Richard had 2 reconnaissance units. One was a Stuart Jalopy, so a Stuart tank without a turret, and another one was a Daimler scout car, which was somewhere back here. Objectives: the dead cows. There is a Kettengrad just here beside my 222 armoured car. There is also a Kuba wagon there, that's an objective, and that, I think it's a motorbike inside car is the 4th of the objective. So Richard had 2 reconnaissance units, scout units to my 1, so he won the deployment, and I took one of the infamous battle chits.
Turn 2. Turn 1 was reconnaissance. We're just playing the basic attack counter-attack mission. I've just got a couple of squads. Right, it's a squad with this machine gun section and a mortar come on. And Richard has been debussing from his Lend-Lease M3A1s. A couple of sections have come on. I think one's snuck into that building, and his reconnaissance have come on over there. So, turn 3.
Just before we do that, let's have a look from a bit of an overview. So the Piat platoon had deployed. I forget a bit in Battlegroup how fast mobile units can move. Actually, they half tracks can move on, and then the infantry can make a full move after they've debussed as well. So caught me a wee bit by surprise, I would think. Over here we've got the Jalopy and another platoon of infantry. These guys are still in their half tracks. On my side, the armoured car is on Overwatch. I deployed my mortar tucked them in here behind the trees, thinking I would have a nice sheltered spot to rain death and destruction on the opponent. We will see how well that plan worked out. And just here you can just see I've got a machine gun team from one of the squads, and beside it here I have deployed something else. Maybe, I think it was my medium machine gun team actually, or might not be. We'll see if we can see in a slide or two's time. And right at the beginning of turn 3, the RAF came roaring over the battlefield, and that's the point of aim there. It was a timed airstrike pretty close to my armoured car, but I think they may have put a pin on something. If that, it wasn't a very successful strike.
Turn 3. The British mortars ranged in and killed a machine gun squad. And it's been happening over here. I did pin him with some speculative mortar fire. British a bit kind of advanced. The Sherman's just on the edge of the table, but it is on this flank that Richard is preparing some kind of sneakiness. So on to turn 4, and I think there could be another airstrike thanks to one of the order chits.
Right, and here we can see my 81mm mortar happily dropping mortar rounds on any unsuspecting British that they're called in to do so. But what I hadn't counted on was Richard using the reaction move to move at the end of my turn and places Stuart Jalopy behind this hedge here, which had a perfect line of sight on my mortar team, so that's not ideal. Not only that, but Richard pulled a airstrike chit at the previous turn, which meant he gets more air support coming on, and that is far from ideal from my point of view.
Bit of a disastrous turn. A typhoon came on and blew up a medium machine gun team. I also lost my platoon commander to the 50 cals on the M3 half track, and this sneaky little jalopy showed me how you use the reaction moves, moved in my turn, and then destroyed my mortar team as well. So to try and deal with that, I've moved on a Panzerschreck that missed, and my armoured car, which also missed. I retreated back to this tree line and have been shooting up into that building, and I think I've caused 5 wounds and pinned a unit there, and I'm snuck up there. But there's a lot of armour on that side of the table at present, and the stugs have yet to appear. On to turn 5. Turn 5, the Typhoon strafed and pinned my armoured car. Was the only loss. This transport decided it was going to try and win a VC but couldn't spot anyone to shoot. The Cromwell advanced to take the objective or contest it, and did so, but my reserves stug came on and destroyed it, and then my other stug got very lucky, spotted and destroyed a second Cromwell. So I actually caused a couple of casualties. My infantry here failed, needing a 2+ to be able to charge into close contact against the British section that is in that building. So it is now on to Richard's turn 6, and we have finally caused a wee bit of damage to the British. Right, turn 6. Richard only had 6 actions. The Typhoon came in on another strafing run and killed a Stug. I had a MG team in here killed by that platoon or that section of infantry over there. The half-track spotted and killed 3 of my team over there. In my turn, most of my reserves have now come on. The last couple of Stugs came on. He failed to see the half-track, but a machine gun team from over here then pinned him. At the end of the turn, I charged into that building and routed the last couple of men with the remains of that squad. And over here, the infantry advanced, not to the hedge line. The Stug advanced, failed to see the infantry, and the Firefly over there failed to spot the Stug twice. So it is now moving on to turn 7 and a bit of a bloodbath.
Turn was a very fast turn. The Typhoon came on, another strafing run, hit the Stug twice, destroyed it. That meant I had to draw yet another battle chit, and that put me over my break point of 35. I ended up on 36. So there we have it. That was a very quick game in the end, and I think at that stage Richard was sitting on 17 for his own break point. So a bit one-sided in the end. Ouch, that ended up being a wee bit painful. There's the chits that I drew. My first chits were something like a 4, 3, 5, 5. So I was already on 17. 2 of them, were right at the beginning for objectives being captured and things like that. So I felt I was on the back foot from the word go. Then that turn 3 where I lost my mortars, my medium machine gun to another airstrike, and I think I lost a section of infantry as well, was another turn that put me on the back foot, and I was sitting at about 26 from there on. So, and at that stage Richard only had 2 chits to his name, so I didn't even think I was going to get him over 10. But then those Stugs came on and they both did really well. They both took 1 shot and knocked out a tank, so very happy with that. Didn't really capture all the action, I don't think, with these videos, but this game played much better than the previous couple have, simply because we used less tanks. We had much more infantry focused. I was caught a wee bit by surprise how mobile Richard's motorised guys were, and that was probably my fault and a wee bit inexperienced with the rules. And the fact that I didn't have Panzerfaust with my guys also limited my ability to take pot shots at those transports. But yeah, I felt in this game that I was using more appropriate infantry based tactics. The last couple of games we've just been kind of ending up having tank and artillery duels. We limited the artillery, reduced the number of tanks. We're talking about using even less as well, and it meant we were both trying, or especially I was trying to do fire and maneuver, set up a machine gun team, then use the infantry squad to maneuver off it. I felt even though I lost, I felt I was doing that much better this game, and that my infantry were actually contributing to the game, whereas the previous couple of games it was like, what's the point of having infantry a wee bit? They're just getting massacred. Infantry I still do find very, very vulnerable to anything. They die quickly. Saves are a lot harder than in games like Flames of War or even O Group, where your infantry platoons in O Group, you take 3 hits on a platoon before you start checking to see if you get casualties. So they're a lot more brittle in Battlegroup. But I really enjoyed this game. Really liked the way it played. Really enjoyed using my 20mm Fallschrimjager. Nice to get the 20mm stuff on the table. Richard's been going crazy printing 20mm moderns and also World War II stuff. He's printed off some fantastic 3D prints in the last few months. So looking forward to seeing some of those things finished in the future. we both enjoyed this size game and the more infantry focused game, and we're going to have another game hopefully in another month or so. Again, it's going to be infantry heavy. I'll be using the Fallschrimjager. We're going to do an attack defend scenario though, so the British or Americans, I'm not sure what he'll take, are going to have larger force than me. But yeah, as I said, I really like the way that this time that my army played. Still not overly familiar with the rules in some areas, but there's just a lack of playing them. I enjoyed them a lot more this time round, where it wasn't just a bit of a long range tank fest. So that's about it from me, but one-sided in the end, but a great game. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was nice to get the models out on table and to catch up with Richard again. Richard, I know you'll watch this, so thank you very much for your hospitality once more. Really appreciate that. Great catching up, having a bit of a yarn, and I really do look forward to catching up with you again soon. To everyone else who's watched this, thank you very much for watching, and if you ever are considering a scale, remember 20mm is God's true scale when it comes to wargaming. The figures, the AB figures are absolutely fantastic, and it was nice to get these guys on the table. Until next time, though, that's it for me. Take care, ka kite anō, see you in future. Won't be another game this week. Keith and I aren't having a game, but hopefully in another couple of weeks I'll have something to present. But until then, take care, look after yourself, see you next time.